yeah, My Name is Emily. That was a film I did in 2014. It was another very synchronistic kind of thing. And I'd actually been to like a psychic 6 months before who mentioned his name way before I knew him. Was like, this person's going to be influential on you. It was an American psychic, so it was like the idea. Well, she said the name Fitzsimmons, which was kind of his name. His name is Simon Fitzmaurice. I was like, it was weird. But and then my friend was reading for that role, and I was talking to her that day, and she was like, no, you should read for this. You'd be way better for this, and all these kind of things. It was very synchronistic. And it was just like a really beautiful, vivid script. It is the kind of character that really made me sit up and be like, I need to step up to be this character. I can't do this. I can't be lazy about this. She's a big character, and it was a very brave script in that it dealt with grief head on. It talked about it was about Emily losing her mother and how her life just fell apart. How her dad went kind of insane and was taken to a mental home, and how there's this pressure to be happy and to be okay, and all of society tells you that, whereas she's like, no, I'm sorry, my mother just died, a part of me is gone, something, the way my life was, and it'll never be this way again, and that's taken away. And she really wanted to grieve for that and to feel all of her feelings. And that very much came from Simon. For people who don't know, Simon had motor neuron disease. He had it when I met him. He can only move his eyes. He communicates with his eyes and a screen, spelling out every word, every letter. And he that was his philosophy, that you should just feel everything and not be ashamed, and also not be afraid to say and live and feel everything. And he absolutely embodied that. He was so whatever he was feeling, he was very truthful. And I think part of that was his condition forced him to do that. He didn't have any energy or words or time to waste because it took so long to say hello. Like, you couldn't make small talk with Simon. You couldn't be like, hey, how are you? Because he would spend like 3 minutes writing good, you know? And so we got to be you get very deep with Simon very quickly and very vulnerable. And even things like, you know, people have struggled to say, I love you. And Simon, early on in filming, I remember to George, the other actor, and he would just be like, he would call us over and he would just say, I love you. And it was like, it was so lovely and beautiful and such a gift. And it's like, of course, that's what we all feel, but we don't say it because we don't want to come off as too much or like too intense and scare people off. And Simon just didn't care about that stuff. Yeah, he was just so authentic and so raw all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, and he passed away in October, and it was very abrupt. I don't think anyone expected. Well, I mean, I hadn't seen him for a few months, and obviously, with that disease, you never know. But he just was somebody who was so passionate about life. He loved life and stories, and he didn't have any of that resistance to life, which most people do, which I definitely do. Even like in creativity, I'd constantly, when I'm writing, I'm like, oh, it's not good enough, can't do it. Simon didn't care about being good enough. He just wanted to express his love and his feelings about life, and he just did it. And I guess like I just had this naive idea that like that is keeping him alive, his passion for life. And I think it did. But yeah, he passed away in October.
And you got to learn those lessons from him then,
yeah,
about your own.
And they're all still coming back to me, things he says that I just didn't get at the time, because Simon was constantly like, you know, on the edge of death. He was not on the edge, but like he was having to confront the reality that he may not be in this world anymore, and he has to just get everything out as much as he can and live, like he really did that thing of living every day like it was his last. Yeah, and that things he says, things that I ignored because I was like, I don't know, in my head, or even sometimes when we were having a conversation, Simon would say something that would like embarrass me, because he would say something that was just too nice or too loving, or he would even be rude about something, and there'd be other people around, and I'd be self-conscious, and then I was like, oh, why did I care what those people thought? But I did, and that's why sometimes, especially his emails, he would email a lot. Sometimes he would email me weird-ass dreams that he had, and it would be like, anyone else would be like, I'm going to come off as a weirdo, but he didn't care, and it's just like, that authenticity really makes you sit up and makes you pay attention, and it keeps coming back to me now that he's passed.
Continue watching this fascinating conversation for free by clicking on the link below to visit our website, learn from the best minds in the world, and connect with a community of passionate people building the best versions of themselves. Just click on the link below, and I'll see you on the inside.